Yeah, hello. I'm Brigette Coutant. I'm Director of National and International Relations in a new institution in Paris, which is called Universcience. Universcience is maybe better known through the two large institutions that it groups, Palais de la Découverte, an old science museum in Paris, and Cité des Sciences et de l'Industrie of La Villette, which is maybe also more recently known.
Okay, thanks. I was asking you before, but can you just tell us about some of the successes that you've had and why you think that's been the case?
Well, I'll talk for the Palais de la Découverte, for both institutions maybe. Palais de la Découverte has been one of the pioneers in the world of science centers and has inspired a lot of other science centers in the world, including big institutions like Palais de la Découverte, like Deutsches Museum or other museums in the United States. So we have built on this experience in France first, and then in the 1960s, 70s, the idea came to build large institutions dedicated to science and technology and industry, so towards more modern, contemporary questions. And I think the major success maybe of La Cité has been to make popular, to familiarize the public with those major issues of questions linked to science, technology and industry, and big problems or questions that we're facing today and that are challenges for everybody, like health questions, like energy questions, but also more intimate questions like sexuality or education to sexuality for children. So we have a large scope of topics, and I think our success has been maybe to bring science into general culture, which was the initial objective. Now this place is really a part of the most visited museums in Paris, as Le Louvre, Beaubourg and other major institutions.
So the subject matter is obviously critical, but what about the actual methodology behind how you present the information?
We have progressed, I think, a lot. We try, first we associate many partners in our conception of all our programs, not only scientific partners, but also industry companies that are part of the whole process. We also associate the public because we question them about where their interests, about the angles we should tackle some of the issues, and we work also in partnership with the media. So it's really a global method that we use, and we have a very particular concern for the quality of the exhibition, for their interactivity, also using the latest modern technologies to help the people to interact. So it's more, I would say the success is built on the comprehensive approach, so that everybody, because the public is composed of many different types of people, everybody has a way to interact and to understand something. We must really pay attention to each of the visitors and not just a global mass of visitors.
As far as Africa is concerned, I mean, I guess most people understand the challenges that the continent faces in general, and you know, it's almost logical that there's only so many science centers because of that. Do you have any advice in terms of helping the African continent develop its science centers?
It's very difficult to give an advice. I think we have to be very modest. The best science center is the one which is really deeply related to the culture, to the need of the country. We are very cautious about the so-called models or concept of science center that you can duplicate. Of course, there are some basic principles in terms of interactive exhibits, and if some exhibit has been developed, is proven, is successful, no need to re-spend a lot of development effort to create it. But the whole concept of the Science Center, how the activities are connected one to the other, how they relate with the local institutions, because the Science Center is not just a thing that is set alone with no environment. Its success is in the connection it can build with the social community, with the university, with the school systems and everything. So there is no model, there is much work in collaboration again with the local context, and also sharing. I think the future of science centers is much more than it was before in sharing expertise, sharing ideas and developing joint programs, because in the end there is some money allocated to to facilitate cooperation between the countries. And I think it's interesting to use these opportunities for cooperation to take the best of the different places, of the different cultures, but really keep your own culture and not be seduced by a sort of model, because it wouldn't work, I think. And maybe last thing, in terms of a country wanting to develop science centers, it's relatively easy to invest, to find money to create a science center. The tricky thing is to operate it later on. And we see a lot of, even in European countries, small science centers being developed, and then there is no money to operate. So the long-term thinking is also something I think very important for a newly developed science center. And to conclude, in terms of cooperation, I would like just to mention that next year will be the year of France in South Africa. So Cité des Sciences has already started a cooperation with the Saibono, and is now thinking about proposing, together with some African colleagues, a new project to be implemented next year and to give a place to science and technology in a general cultural program.